Hey friends, Peggy Hall back with you from thehealthyamerican.org. Many of you have been asking me, what can I do about this tyranny? How can I push back? You're exposing all of these evil doers, but what can I do? I don't want to just hear about it. I want to do something about it. And I want to applaud you for that position and for asking about that. For the last, oh my gosh, 3.5 years, I've been on this channel. My goal is to bring you solutions and strategies. I call it resources and remedies, tips and techniques to actually push back against tyranny. I don't want you to be in the spin cycle and feel helpless and hopeless and overwhelmed. That is exactly what the evildoers want. The bad guys, the WEFers, the New World Disorder, the puppet masters. Just fill in the blank. You know that we are talking about the powers that shouldn't be, the public serpents, for example. And there are different ways that we can push back. I do want you to know that psychological despair and psychological warfare and bombarding you with images and ideas and messages that are so overwhelming and cause you to feel anguish in your soul and a sense of being so distraught that you don't know what to do. That's exactly what they want. So the first thing I want you to do is to watch one of my encouraging videos. I'm going to share them. Oh, before I do that, I need to bring you a sponsor message. I have promised you that I'm not going to be bringing you any messages when I talk about the Maui fire coverage, because I wanted that to be something that you could dive right into. I am so grateful for my sponsors. That's how I'm able to stay on YouTube. I do not make a penny from YouTube itself. I am not monetized with my videos. So they have kind of banned me from making money from any advertisements that run, but I do have some sponsors that I'm grateful for. They see value in my message and they want me to bring their message to you. So let's do that. We're going to hop right on over to, and this is a way that you can prepare and actually fight back. And this is to be prepared financially. And we are going right on over to noblegoldinvestments.com. And here's the phone number, 877-646-5347. You know that the US dollar has lost 85% of its value since the 1970s, when the dollar decoupled from gold, and the government seems bent on continuing this tradition. So from now until after the next elections, the government apparently can print as much money as it wants. And the last time they did that, inflation went up 9%. That means one thing: the security of your future and your family's future is all in your hands. Make sure that you freeze the value of the wealth you are holding, meaning you do not want it to melt. So if you're able, invest in gold with Noble Gold Investments. This is the only gold company that I trust. I've had the owner of the company on here before. His family works for the company. You can call this phone number and get your questions answered. And again, that's 877-646-5347. Somebody that lives in the United States, an American, is going to pick up that phone and give you your answers. And they are here to help you if you want to invest in gold. Gold is the one asset that is proven to withstand recession, inflation, and just about all economic threats. Just go here and get this free information, absolutely free. Put in your email address. And if you qualify, you are going to get a 24-karat, 1/4 ounce gold standard coin for free when you invest. And you can get other precious metals as well, not just gold. So go to noblegoldinvestments.com. Again, I will have a link for you below. Remember, there is always a risk of investment and there's no guarantee of any kind, but get your questions answered from them. Friends, being prepared, of course, will help you feel more confident. I did a couple of videos over the weekend all about being prepared. Of course, they told us that Hurricane Hillary, yes, that's how I pronounce it, was going to slosh all over Southern California, Arizona, Nevada. And there are places that are being flooded, but luckily it has not been as disastrous as they terrorized it to be. And that's what they want. They want to inflict images of horror, of terror. I want to talk briefly about this idea that children were home alone from school in this latest disaster. Number one, these fires that were devastating basically didn't break out until after the children would have been home from school anyway. Are the population of Maui Are they known for leaving their children home alone without anybody looking after them? I don't think so. If you know anything about the Hawaiian culture, it is a culture of ohana, extended family, and there are aunties and uncles and your neighbors. The town of Lahaina is very small, tight-knit, and you would have people looking out for you. In many of these homes, it's likely that they were multi-generational, where you had the grandma or grandfather or grandpa there looking after the children as well. So I don't buy this narrative that is pushing the idea that these children were perishing on their own. I don't even want to give it too much airtime, but so many of you are sending me that and saying how horrified you were. That's exactly what they want. They want to add horror onto the already devastating decimation. Don't fall for it. So here's what you need to do. Please go over to my other channel. I'm going to try to broadcast. I will upload a couple of these for you as bonus videos, maybe next week, for you to watch. So here you go. Grief Needs a Witness. Please watch this video. It's going to help you psychologically, spiritually, to feel encouraged and to feel supported. And then this one I did, A Better Way to Cope. In this broadcast, this is my second channel called Living Swell with Peggy Hall. I hope that you will subscribe there as well. In case they ever take this one down, you can find me there. So this morning I did A Better Way to Cope, and I go into a little bit more detail about how I guard my own heart against the evildoers that want to leave me feeling hopeless and helpless. So that is tip number one. Limit what you are allowing into your vessel. God created you and does not want you to defile your temple of the Holy Spirit. So whether you're spiritual, religious, what have you, you know that you don't want to be taking in junk food. So why are you taking in junk messages? Think about the videos that you watch and the social media accounts that you follow. Do you feel better after watching those? Do you feel empowered? Do you feel like, yes, I can take this on, I'm going to stand strong? Or do you feel horrified? Do you feel that you can't sleep at night? Do you feel a greater sense of anxiety? Why are you watching them? Can you use your powers of discernment to ask some questions about what you're seeing, about whether it even makes sense, about whether you are just living for that next hit of adrenaline? What else is going to happen? Hopefully you're not in that category of people, and I don't think you are since you're on this channel, but sadly there are those people that I really pray for where their lives are so empty. They have nothing going on except for the news. So they're riveted all day 24/7 by these broadcasts because their own life is so empty, or maybe they've had horrible devastation in their life, and by watching something even worse, as I say, worst is worse than worse, somehow it makes them feel better because their life is not so bad in comparison. Friends, I hope that that's not your case. So please follow those encouraging videos on my other channel. I really just barely touch on current events. We don't dive deep on those current events as we do here, but I mention them just in passing to talk about how you, I don't even have my audio plugged in. Okay, this is going to be a different sound. Friends, I think this will be my final video for this evening. I've been making 3 videos a day to try to keep up on all of this news. I realize the audio is not as good as it normally is. So thank you. And I know that I was a little bit emotional here, but that's okay. It's okay to feel the emotions. On my other channel, the Living Swell channel, I've got videos about how to express your emotions, how to work your way through them so that you can get through them appropriately, and then you can begin to heal. I highly recommend that you watch that channel or other channels that are going to help you feel better instead of worse. All right, here are some of my other notes. Where did I put my notes, friends? Okay, you know what? I'm going to wing it, but that's okay because I'm already, I really appreciate you, my lovely, healthy Americans. I must have put it in here we go. Had it on a Word document. Number 1, stay informed, but not obsessed. You want to make sure that you give equal time in your life to things that bring you joy. I'm telling you, friends, Staying glued to the news or even to my channel or to other social media accounts 24/7 is going to leave you despairing. You are playing exactly into the hands of the evildoers. You're allowing them to steal your joy, your life essence, your limited time, and it's time taken away from other things that you could be doing, like spending time with your family, with your furry family, spending time doing your hobbies and activities that you love, spending time out in nature while we can still enjoy it, spending time being creative, solving problems, listening to people, connecting with others. You have got to spend at least twice as much time doing things that bring you joy compared to the amount of time that you are riveted to the breaking news and other things. My goal is to distill the information down for you so you don't have to sift through all of the other YouTube channels and so forth. I am grateful for the information that you send me. And every once in a while, I'm like, oh, I already covered that on my channel. I hope you're watching my channel, because I strive to bring you my breaking news analysis so that you don't have to sift through all of those other Rumble accounts and Telegram and all of that. Number 2, share what you do find with others, because evil thrives in darkness. And you may find people that think the United Nations is great and that the climate crisis is something that we need to attack, and that driving an electric vehicle is going to save the planet, and that not having a wood burning fire after all of these fires we've just seen, you think that you not having a little fire, a little beach fire, a bonfire on the beach is going to make a difference. We need to educate others. So share the information. I find it very helpful to pose questions such as, hey, have you ever thought about this or that? Or did you realize that this or that? Or what have you? So get them engaged in the conversation. Some people may think that the United Nations is doing great work and that we need smart cities and that we should have only, no cash and only electronic payments. Start having conversations with others. What I do is when I'm in a public place, like let's say I might be out to lunch with my husband, or maybe I'm getting gas at the pump, or I'm at a grocery store or something, I will just start talking kind of out loud, sort of having a conversation like, can you believe these gas prices? That's why they're raising them on purpose. Everybody will go to electric vehicles. And imagine if you're here trying to charge your car, you'd be here for an hour and I'm only here for a couple of minutes. I say things like that all the time. I sometimes embarrass my family, but I don't hold back. And when I'm at the grocery store or Home Depot or something, I say out loud, I'm not using the self-checkout. Am I an employee? Did I get trained on this technology? Do I get an employee discount? I will say it out loud. I will talk to people that I'm in line with. So share the info. Tell others about this channel. I really appreciate it. On my website, I've even got little business cards that you can print out. I've got so much free information. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about how to not comply because they're trying to bring back all the hogwash. I mean, do they think people are actually going to go for this? So that's the most important thing I'm going to tell you right now for number 3. Live in liberty. You make choices and decisions that are going to leave you with dignity and integrity and self-respect. Now, I'm not going to tell you what that is. You need to determine that for yourself. I've had conversations back in the early days with grandparents that told me they had to put on the suffocation device in order to fly on a plane to go visit their grandchildren. Okay, they didn't have to do it. They chose to do it. Own your decisions. That grandma chose flying on a plane to see her grandchildren as a higher value than not complying with tyranny. That's her choice. So choose these actions that are going to leave you with dignity and integrity and respect. We had a Healthy American reach out to us after she had already been fired from her nursing job. She said, and she had been on unpaid leave, which is completely illegal. Unfortunately, she hadn't found us until it was too late. And she decided to become a human pincushion in order to get her job back. Because again, a single mom trying to pay the rent. And she contacted us later and she said, I was on unpaid leave. I was not getting unemployment, which is also illegal. They have to give you unemployment. We've helped many people through that. And I understand that it is a very stressful and can be a matter of life and death for people. Again, I'm not putting a value judgment on it. My values are different. I value truth. I value freedom, and I will die starving, homeless before I will comply with any of it. But that's just me. So this individual, this woman came to us and said, well, I went ahead and I became a human pincushion. I got the cocktail so I could go back to work. And I went back to work and they fired me anyway on some other cause. So think about that for a moment. Not only is this woman out of a job, she's out of her integrity and self-respect and dignity, that she broke that vow to herself, and she'll be living with that for the rest of her life. However long that may be, it's extremely tragic. And that's why I do this work in helping people get a job without the jab and keep their job without a jab. And I've helped thousands of people with my free educational videos. They're all here for you. And if you want personal help, that's available, but you can also self-educate. I've got many subscribers that have told me that they just followed the free materials and they were successful. You have got to make choices that make sense for you. Some people left their jobs. Some people found a different job, a better job. Many people wrote to me and said that it was a blessing in disguise. So I chose to make decisions that entailed certain sacrifices. And that's okay because it aligned with my values. So when people say we need one giant organized national movement to fight this, I say the exact opposite. We only need each individual living in liberty. We need each individual not complying. I'll talk more about this. I'm kind of veering off into that not complying, which I'll cover tomorrow with you specifically on the laws that protect you. My strategies, if you have to go to the doctor or go on jury duty or go to the DMV or what have you, they're already pushing this in California. Things are already being shut down again. It's absolutely stunning. All right. This is really important in pushing back against the evildoers. Remember that they work on the principle of incrementalism. What does that mean? Well, right, you're doing things slowly, step by step. They're working on decades and centuries. The things that they're doing now, they hope will yield results in 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 years. Look back 100 years ago, they were pushing the cocktails then. They never will relent. Their end goal is the extermination of the human race. Sorry to break it to you, but you know, when you're right with God and you know where you're going, and even if you don't believe in that, and I hope that you do, God believes in you and he loves you nonetheless, and he has a plan and purpose for your life. And if you're living out a life using your God-given gifts, then I think that you're ready to go at any time because there's no sense of regret. I didn't do that. I didn't get this done. I wasn't true to my values. I wasn't true to God. I wasn't honoring him. I was living. If you're living your life now, and nobody's perfect. I certainly am not. I have so many faults and flaws and things I wish I had done differently, and I'll probably continue to make mistakes, but that is not going to steal my joy from striving to live life honoring God and using his gifts that he gifted me with to the best of my ability. I am a teacher. I am an encourager. I am a researcher. I am a person of discernment, and I am going to continue to help to share that. So knowing that today, I live today to the fullest, that is something that I can bring and carry with me forward. So when we are talking about the incrementalism and how these evildoers work very, very slowly. They try to get a little foothold and then they backpedal. They push the suffocation devices, then they push two, then they eased off, then they pushed the cocktail, then they pushed another, then they pushed another and another, then they backed off a little bit. Now they've got the new variants. Now they're backing off. That's exactly what they do. So we need to do the same thing. We need to adopt that incrementalist approach as well, meaning step by step, bit by bit, we don't give in. exposing their evil deeds, and then they backpedal a little bit. I've spoken to so many people that work in the medical field, and they told me that not only did they not go for the cooties cocktail, but they are never going to go for the flu. They're never going to go for the hepatitis or the tetanus or whatever else they might come up with. They're like, we're not doing any of it, because now they know the dangers, where before they kind of begrudgingly went along with it, but the evildoers pushed too hard, too fast, too long. It's backfiring. It's the boomerang effect. So we need to operate step by step. Every little step I want you to claim as a victory. So that is how we can outwit the nitwits and outsmart those evil doers. So for example, in the UK, they were pushing for those 15-minute cities, and they put up some blockades, and the blokes went out and they just pulled down the blockades. They had their cameras, and people were destroying those with the drones. So each one of those incremental steps, I claim as a victory. The example that I gave with Josh Green New Deal in Hawaii, where he said, we're looking for ways for the state to buy up the property. And then he also said that we're going to build back better. I think he meant burn back better. Yes. And my video that I just did prior to this had that title. Then he started backpedaling and saying, oh, no, no, no. What I meant was that the people of Lahaina will own the land, and we're going to keep it for the population of Maui. That's what I meant to say. Why? Because you and I pointed it out. We pointed out that the emperor has no clothes. And then I also have been very vocal on this channel about the fire chief not answering any questions. And today there were 3 video interviews with that police chief that I'm sorry, I'll talk about the chief of police in another video. The fire chief kind of answered the questions. I'm going to do a little summary for you on that tomorrow. But the point that I wanted to make is, because we have been asking and sharing and exposing, they are being forced to respond. It is working. Don't give up. So let me give you a couple other examples of what you can do to fight this tyranny. We talked about living each day fully. We talked about working on incrementalism, celebrate these small victories that are working, stay informed but not obsessed, share the info with others because they may be uninformed. And then let's talk a little bit more about making decisions that do not drive this agenda forward. All right, for me, I vowed I am only going to bank in person. I used to do all my banking online. I used to do it on my phone, and I decided I am not going to do that any longer. I went from a giant conglomerate bank and I went to a small local, I think there's another word for it, I think just a local bank is what it's called. And I know the banker and they know my name, and I go in person, and I do not do the electronic banking period. I don't have it on my computer. I don't have it on my phone. This is huge for me. I used to do everything online, and I'm not going to do it. It's an action that I can take. Now, you may say, Peggy, oh my gosh, I can't imagine that. All of my accounts are online. Well, fine. You decide what's right for you. This is right for me. Now, I also drive a very old car that does not have all of that computerized stuff. And there was a commenter who said, Peggy, every car since 2015 has all that computerized stuff. Well, my car was I think it was 2008 or something like that. No, even anyway, it's very, very old. It's like an 17, 18-year-old car. And it does not have a computer screen. I don't even have an automated lock. I have to use the key to lock the door. I'm talking about an older car, and I love it. And I keep it well maintained. Now, you have to be on guard, because one of my Healthy Americans, big shout out to Frank, who's in the Midwest. Love you, Frank. Thank you for everything that you're sending me. He works on cars, and he said that now you can't even get the parts to rebuild things. And it's not just cars, it's tractors, it's other things that need to be fixed. And the supply chains, I believe, are intentionally being shut down so that you're going to be pushed into all of this computerized stuff. I am not going to comply. I'll probably have to go to a horse and buggy or a bicycle. I do have a bicycle. I recommend everybody who is able to ride a bicycle to have one, so that you can use that as a needed mode of transportation if you're able to do so. So I definitely, if you're in the market for a new car, buy an old one if you can. I think that they are much better, and it does not, there are less trackers. They can't turn it off. I had to rent a car when my car was being fixed. And I was changing lanes in an area, kind of a rural area. Nobody was around. The car would not let me change lanes unless I had the indicator on, the turn indicator. It literally like, what? Pushed me back. It was the most, it's actually dangerous. I did not care for that at all. I will not drive a car that has a keyless ignition. I'm not going to do it. That's another thing where I personally make the decision. You do what's right for you. I do not have any Ring or Alexa or any of that. My technology is my computer and my cell phone. And a year or two ago, I had a lot of problems with my cell phone, and I actually had a flip phone, which I would love to go back to because there was no internet on it. I couldn't text. It was very old school, and I actually liked it. I have been training myself to not carry my phone with me. I don't want it with me all the time. If I do have it on me for emergencies, I turn it off. If I'm going somewhere, I will leave it so it's not with me. At least I'm taking steps in that action. I certainly do not have Alexa, which are, spy tools. I don't have the spy cameras, any of that at all. I will tell you, one time I was having a conversation and I had with a friend, and I had my phone in the car, and she had the Sonos listening device. Yeah, it was playing music. And we were talking about a product. We were talking about a product that I mentioned. When I got home, I was getting ads on my computer for that product. I didn't have my cell phone on me. I believe that Sonos listened to it and somehow made the connection. Maybe she said my name, or I have no idea, but it sent me ads for a product that I mentioned when I did not have my cell phone. Many of you have told me these eerie things that you were thinking something and then it showed up on your computer or Facebook. I know it's very strange. So I would say whenever possible, I do not have Facebook on my phone. I do not have Instagram on my phone. It's only on my computer. So I do not spend time on my phone doing all of that. I think I mentioned that I do not use the self-checkout. I refuse to do so. I will leave my items there. I will leave that store. I will not shop there, or I will have one of those employees who's standing around watching everybody use the self-checkout. I'll have them check it out for me. I'm not going to do it. You have to stand up against this. Look what happened with Bud Light. Look what happened with Target. It makes a difference. Each one of us. There was no national boycott of Target, and people just stopped shopping there. There was no national boycott of Bud Light. It's not a boycott. A boycott gives the idea that it's temporary. That's canceled. Ain't nobody going to be drinking that stuff anymore. I don't drink, but those who do have told me they're never going to. So I do not do any of that facial recognition. I do not have it on my phone. I don't have the fingerprint recognition on my phone. I remember years ago at 24 Hour Fitness, which is a gym in California, they went from the card to the fingerprint. And man, my mom and I were both members. We fought against that. We kept that card for as long as we could. And after a while, even when I walked in, I would just go like this to the people in front. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to participate. I'm not going to get the digital ID for the driver's license. And in California now, they have where you can put your driver's license on your cell phone. I'm not going to do that. These are things that I personally can stand up against. People have been telling me that they've got the facial recognition at the airport. You say, I do not consent. I do not, I decline. Just say I decline. And they are required to give you an option. This is voluntary. I did a video on that. I've got videos on all of this, friends. I've got hundreds of videos on this channel. You can scroll through, you can do a search, and you can find out about what's going on. Just put in the word airport and you'll see that. So I'm certainly not going to do that. I do not use the Apple Wallet. I do not pay for things on my phone. I use cash as much as possible. So these are ways that I personally am pushing back against the green agenda. Let me also say, I don't have solar panels and I'm never going to. You may be a solar panel salesperson, and I hope that your profession is, enjoyable for you. I do not care for that. There are many reasons, but personally, I am not going to do that. There are things that I will and will not do, and I don't want to drive that agenda forward. Let me know in a comment things that you do in your life. What are you doing for your tools against tyranny. How are you fighting back against the evildoers and the WEFers and the New World Disorder? Let me know. I would love to share that. I also want to say that I want to thank you for over the weekend, I did my videos about prepping, and you had so many great ideas about prepping. I am going to compile those, and I'm going to put that in either a newsletter or maybe on my Instagram. I will put it there because you had so many great things about adding to being prepared. And being prepared is another way that you can fight back against tyranny, because you will feel more calm, more confident. I'm not talking about hoarding. And I've heard from some of my healthy Americans that are people of faith saying, Peggy, God will provide. I don't want to feed into this by, stocking up on the items. I'm just going to live my life normally. Well, don't you normally have like an extra package of Band-Aids on hand, or maybe, a couple extra cans of food so you don't have to go out to the grocery store? Even if you can do something like that so that you have the peace of mind that you're not going to be caught off guard, I think goes a long way. Let me finish off just by sharing with you. Some of you asked again, because I went through it pretty quickly. So let me just show you what I do for my prepping. And this is over at preparewithpeggy.com. And this is, let me just, preparewithpeggy.com. And I'll share my screen here as we wrap up the broadcast. Each one of my family members has one of these buckets. Now, of course, that might be out of your price range, but you can do something more affordable here. There are different kinds of promotions that they have for you. And basically, this is all of your breakfast, lunch, and dinners. This one is the 2-week supply. You can get a month, or you can get a 3-month. And the thing is, it lasts for 25 years. This, for me, is peace of mind. You get all of these things, the macaroni and cheese. And again, some of you said, Peggy, I just got my own bucket and I got my own things. That is great. I want you to be prepared. If you are interested, this is where you can go, preparewithpeggy.com. And that is about a 5-year-old picture of me. Some of you said you like the shorter hair. I like to change things up a little bit, but my Teddy is telling me that it is time to wrap up here. So friends, being prepared and making sure that you take time and take a break from all of the hogwash that's being sloshed all over us. Those are the top tips for me. So let me know what you like to do aside from watching the videos. I would love to hear about how you take care of yourself. You guard your heart. You take every thought captive. And I hope that includes watching my Living Swell channel. I love meeting you there. It's once a week. It's Mondays at 11 a.m. Pacific. That's at 2 p.m. Eastern. And that is where we do our positive encouragement to help each other keep our head above the waves in these stormy seas. I'll be back with you tomorrow, friends. We'll talk about pushing back against this new hogwash that they want to slosh all over us. I will do some more of these exposés on the public serpents that are running things into the ground over on Maui, so that we can stay prepared and stay educated on what's going on. All right. Thank you, everybody, for being on board. I look forward to seeing you in an upcoming video. Big shout out to the moderators and all of you that are here supporting day in, day out. See you soon, everybody.